What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you the finals of the RMC locals that happened here the other day. Now, this match is going to be between UlforceVeedramon on the left, and then on the right is going to be the Gabumon list that me and Chris have been working on stream. But I don't really know too much about the Ulforce list on the left. I'm not sure if it's playing the older Ulforce, but I do know that it is playing the starter deck Ulforce, which we can see right there, and they're going to grab it off the blue memory boost. Got the new Gorillamon in Raising. Gonna promote the Strabimon. Had to digivolve the Strabimon. Normally you want that to be that Gabumon, but get something in the rookie at least. It's better than whiffing a rookie. And then gonna play Davis. Going to only have one target of that Gabumon there. But putting the Ulforce player at 3, and they do have the blue memory boost, which they can use to boost up, so has a lot of memory to build up this turn. Actually just going to swing into the V Wing Blade, so going to bounce back to the hand, trash the rest. Looking at the Ulforce player's hand, I'm not sure if they have the best of options. They do have some rookies that could play down, but going to decide to just drop the Cordramon and get some draws going, and start to build up during the next raising phase. But now we have 2 mats on the board and the BT6 Gabumon in Raising. So next turn we're going to be able to gain 2 and draw 2 with the Gabumon. And then you could go into Bond and still have 2 memory. And if you get all 3 checks, then you can just go into a Lobomon and win the game. So the Ulforce player is in potential trouble with just what's on board. But the Gabumon player is going to have both the Bond and the Lobomon in hand to make it happen and not hit anything like a Hammer Spark or Kakaitis Breath in the security. Going in with the Davis, so won't get memory choked anymore. The blue memory boost is gone, so definitely needs some sort of memory source, or else your opponent's probably just going to try to put you at 1 every turn. If they don't try and go for game here, going to go for the Hammer Spark to play out Sorajo and just put the opponent at 3 instead of putting them at 4, which is a good idea, especially against this deck. The more memory you give them, the more potential tamers they have. Looking like they want to digivolve the Cordramon, so doesn't have the Bond, and in fact just digivolving the Cordramon, which really isn't going to be the best play here, and trading in with the other Cordramon, so definitely not having the hand that the Gabumon player wants. That was kind of a really slow play, a really rough play. You still have tamers on board, so you can still threaten to go for game later with hybrids, but having to digivolve into the Cordramon there and then just trade and not really get any closer to your game plan is a bit rough. But we do have a couple Gabumons right now and did get the draw Gabu, so next turn you'll be able to hatch and digivolve in Raising, get another draw, and if you get a Bond you'll still be in the race to be able to go for that 3 swing since you do have the BT6 Gabu on board. Ulforce player is going to put him at 3 with the Davis, then 5 with Sorajo. Now once again we're in a position where the Ulforce player has a lot of memory to build up, but they are just choosing to swing in again, and this time hitting a Cordramon, which is super rough because that's another Digimon on the Gabumon player's board to be able to go in. Gonna play the Gomamon, digivolve into the Sealamon, so we do have a blocker. We'll be able to block one of these Gabumon attacks or the Cordramon attack, but the threat of hybrids is still there, so you're gonna have to be careful. You're gonna have to watch your resources. They do need a Hammer Spark to play 2 Lobomons, but if they do have the Hammer Spark and the 2 Lobomons, then you can swing all 3 of these Digimon in. One of them will get blocked, leave your opponent at 1 security, and then 2 Lobomons could seal it up. Going to actually decide to block the Cordramon attack with the Sealamon. I don't know if I fully agree with that, just because if you were able to block one of the Gabumon attacks, then you would be able to have it survive, but as we can see, it doesn't matter. There is the Hammer Spark into the Lobomon, and going to be able to seal that one up. Those tamers and those hybrids are really just hard to play around when you can't really deal with tamers in any way outside of Zwart Defeat, and this deck's obviously not going to be playing Zwart Defeat, so you just have to play the blockers. We saw the Sealamon, but it wasn't going to be enough. Hitting the Cordramon out of security might have been what sealed it, at least for that turn. We saw that there was the hybrids in hand with the Hammer Sparks, so the Ulforce player was definitely on a clock, but we didn't see them go up to Ulforce. We didn't even see them go up into an ultimate. We did see the Ulforce get grabbed off the blue memory boost, so gonna have to see if they go into it this time. We are going to go into the UlforceVeedramon. So when going into the Ulforce, you'll be able to have security attack +1 if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, of course, but being able to swing 2 checks and then unsuspend and then swing 2 more checks is going to be pretty intense. And if there is no security triggers in the Gabumon security security, then they might just be able to go in for game. I do believe they have the Ulforce in hand. Gonna be able to go up to 5 with the Sorajo, plus you have the blue memory boost for 2 extra memory. You're gonna be able to digivolve into the Ulforce here, and the when digivolving effect's gonna be able to bounce the Grizzlymon, so now there's no blocker. Gonna be able to swing. I don't know if they have 8 cards in hand or not. I would assume they probably have it, but they are just going to swing and unsuspend over the Lobomon, so wanting to remove pressure, getting the draw off the Upamon, maybe needed the extra card to be able to get the extra security attack, but either way, gonna be able to get rid of a Digimon on the board as well as get 2 security checks in. They are staring down a couple of BT6 Gabumons and a Mat, however, as well as the Howling memory boost, so if they decide to go into Bond, they will be able to just mostly be able to clear off the board, but we now see that it's going into an Omnimon. I still believe they should be at 2 or 8 cards or more, so they will be able to get the 2 checks, but now the Gabumon is actually not going to be able to get rid of the Digimon on board because they trade at 14, so you could swing in for a couple checks and then trade into the Omnimon there with the last check of the Gabumon if you wanted, but trashing your last security is going to be a little bit scary because they do have 2 Tamers on the board and they are also playing Lobomon, so if they have even 1 Lobomon, then it's likely just going to be game. Gonna swing in, hit a Spark going to 1, so gonna see if they hit another one. Cordramon coming out, so 2 unfortunate swings. The Cordramon will go to the bottom of the deck, but hitting a second Hammer Spark, all 3 swings were security checks, and that's just going to be a scoop up from the Gabumon player, and we're going to be going to game 3. Ulforce going to tie it up 1-1. Now, I can assume that the Ulforce player will be going first, knowing Chris, he wants to go second, and so we'll see what they build up into. Going to start off with the Gomamon, and then just Digivolve into a Cordramon, so no inheritables there, which is likely just fine, because we have seen that this player likes to swing in early with their champions. We saw that game 1, and so this champion will also probably just get swung in with and then start building up another stack, so the inheritables don't matter too much. Does have the Upamon and would have preferred to get some value off of that, but they decided to just play the Mat, so no Digimon on board to get Upamon value. Actually not promoting, so might be actually looking to build up and instead of going for the early approach, but now we see a Grizzlymon, which is going to be able to shut down this jamming Vmon from being able to get early swings. Gonna go into the Mock Gaugamon, so building up straight into this Ulforce, it looks like. I do like them keeping in raising now that we see the Mock Gaugamon, because this Grizzlymon is likely just going to get bounced with the Digiburst, and then that part of having no inheritables doesn't matter, so they're just going to both get Digiburst, bounce the Grizzlymon, and then the jamming Vmon can swing in if they choose to, or they can go into the Ulforce. Actually just going to go for the blue memory boost. They see that the Gabumon player does not have a Gabumon despite having 3 mats, so they are going to be a little bit behind, so if you put them at 1, there's nothing that they can really do. If they want a Davis, they're going to put you at 3, and that's going to be plenty of memory for you to go for your memory boost and go into Ulforce and start getting your checks in. There isn't the security attack +1 inheritable that we had last time from the UlforceVeedramon, but the Mock Gaugamon does give a boost to the Ulforce, so will be a little bit more tanky in the security, but we see that they're not going to be able to attack this turn because they got Howling memory boosted, but the Vmon's going to swing, hit the 4th mat, so all 4 mats are on the board, but no way to really capitalize off them outside of some Lobomons or Kendo Garurumons in hand because there's no Gabumon, so just going to go to Stravi, Digivolve into the Grizzlymon, and try and search for a Gabumon, I assume. You do get to shut down this Vmon once again. Your opponent doesn't have another Mock Gaugamon to Digiburst. However, as we can see in their hand, they do have a couple UlforceVeedramon, so once UlforceVeedramon Digivolves next turn, it's going to be able to return that Grizzlymon back to hand once again, and then with the memory boost on board, they should have enough memory to be able to do it while still keeping it on their turn, and can get some checks in, including with the jamming Vmon, so gonna be looking like they're in a very good spot. The Gabumon player really had the potential, I think, to pop off because of all the mats that we had, but just hitting Stravimon, so not being able to capitalize. Gonna go with the blue memory boost up to 4, gonna be able to Digivolve, bounce the Grizzlymon back, and then if they want to, can go for the swing into unsuspend. With the jamming Vmon, they should also be able to get a pretty good chunk of damage going in. And with the Gabumon player not really having any way to go into Bond anytime soon, I don't think they're going to really be able to recover. Swings in and hits a Davis, so that's going to help the Gabumon player a lot. They decide to grab the Kendo, don't even want to go with the Gabumon at this point. It looks like they're just going for the hybrid package, or they must have hit a Gabumon already, but going to swing over the Vmon. And I noticed that last turn they did trash the bottom source with the Sorajo without suspending the Sorajo, but you do need to suspend there, so keep that in mind. No Tamer coming out on top of it, so ultimately inconsequential, but is a bit of a missequence there. Gonna Digivolve into the Lobomon, swing in, and swing into a Cordramon. Uh-oh, that is pretty bad because now they have 3 swings with the Gabumon in raising, and they only have 1 security check, so even if they put up a blocker or get rid of one of the Digimon on board, they will still have 2 checks to be able to swing in, and I think this might be it unless that last card in security is something like a Kakai's Breath, a V-Wing Blade, maybe even Hammer Spark to get there, but actually gonna go in with the Magnadramon. The one of Magnadramon gonna come in and save for now, but as much as recovering 2 does help, it is a level 6, so this Vmon is likely just gonna warp up. They do need to gain the Sorajo memory, and they just noticed it right now, so going to be able to warp up for 6 into the Ulforce, and then be able to return the Lobomon, which obviously isn't something super great because now they have another hybrid to go in, but now you just likely go in for game. You get to swing, unsuspend, swing, swing, and then go in with the Gabumon, and even if you were to hit a Kakai's Breath, you would be able to go in with the Lobomon. So Ulforce gonna be able to take it, new force coming in, gonna be able to take the first local on its debut, so that was a pretty interesting deck. I don't have the list for it, but if I can try and get the list, I will post it in the Discord because this is pretty interesting. Watching this now, I definitely would like to see the list for myself, but if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe because I'm gonna be bringing you a bunch of BT6 content with all these tournaments going on, so I will see you next time for some more Digimon. I hope you have a great day. Peace out.